Send I am maybe a man. The Quashida and the action. And the Samachiam. Na issue the kakra. Because the issue is issue the kakra. And the issue the issue the no person obeka ho na yina issue the abekire wadwene. Memeka na sabe o de bia an doctor sabobi oba sabe isi minim his age minim academic credentials and but means say if you opeso be kan your ho bra na be kan your ho maka na mesi sudua say wonya platform bia very educative and entertaining, instructive. I walk Ghana ha, and I Ghana ha baby a chain media. One ya baby obesua dear, obehuan dear, obetin obedro, obenyanki chimu. I walk Ghana ha we as baby as a meme platform. Until now ba na wanya daje no wati. Needing and I'm always a tuntum, and why a tuntum, and also I say blue, black, fine, blue, black, daddy lumba. And ra, na ye, call me briefly. The government some call a year's wage retia. Maybe can a dobroni group men can, na men can kushasa was a group. Menka papa she group na menka abushapani to package group but that lumba anamako that is all menka akusha brempomani ya puku group na menka first na usu group the neutral the friend Mr. Neutral until and Ramo Yakoe, the Santo Asoko Juretia. I am so tired, but you know, maybe you be so you cannot. At the day Aquaba. Send ye, baby, and sa baby, and I. But quickly let me talk about the decision of the court about one crime. Send ye, whom be whom you sit here. Indeed, as a lawyer, make us as a lawyer. Judge, I can't say one more ruling. Or say, injunction, no, man, Majatum. A bush up any quay anyway, only a bush up when you anyway. And some trophy bishops and some woman in our call, a better room, baby, St. Johnson or Majatum on the conditions. Afe ni abeti ansese mumra monsana mura court bi 20-30 minutes time. I think it's so dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Because in law, your court na judge can some na we no try. No assign. Like I say we. So be your application na my afra some na a party ni bi na be your application. But the judge cannot sue mutu. Judge na antimi ntena honka se ma kwaba ma sanafa David. It's never done anywhere. It's never done anywhere. You see, you know, let's be very fair. It was a serious indictment on the judiciary. Yeah, you know, sir. Oba better answer no power the injunction a minion to Monko asan. Injunction no maji atum. Na mum say ni asan. But kasama minion to Monko abusapa in kwewe. Benyi na wasoro ko ya. Bere mon agire bere monsa na mara biu. It's unheard of. And like I said, in law, I say plaintiff no lawyer beko court no be application. No could court na we application no. Na be a defendant ni wa judge ni ntiu. So defendant no lawyer so be court. Not the non can oral application. Judge ni ntiu. Because the judge was in law, lawyers will say phantoms of issue. Well, we na juma. The judge was phantom of issue. Until I do baby I make cancer, mama wa brochire no de. I am on nine munyankopon asiu. Wo abrochire now that sorry now one krata. O first mpa years of one nyankopon no. Me da asem wo abrochire no one krata. Because until we are see baby it's only Africa. Nya judge ni ya kwa no fa so yes am dan ani mu kotua 2 million. It is only in Africa and no other place. We are see baby nyankopon no boss ro bo asase no. Baby bien was up. I am saying that it is only in Africa. South of the Sahara. And now that is our judgment. No. So we are that. So if the type of system we are operating in Ghana, one web person would invest imagine so the investor, but now this is the type of judiciary you operate here. Into the investor. Mama tia brochira mo so da mo se ye be invest no. If this is the type of system yeah, will you think you come and invest? Because after all ubetimi akokot. So what asase na ye bua mawa na mokwa na obi asa na frɛ sɛ hey me amomro me anam ka me sa me boa. And you know, me who said be no money age. A seven judge na kai and the second one. Sabi ka frache. Etua duamu a, etua nipa wa etua duamu. Etua nipa wa etua duamu. So I because na ye dey when him said na ye dey Obi ya frama ba momra ya sana da ye wani age misra me kan te wa wuji di se eye bisa wo se so na judge ne de sa ruling no e ma wo na wo kono sam fra no de me am sa me boa na madam se ya eye. And yet you have some people jubilating. It is a very serious thing, honestly. It is a very, very serious thing. But maybe I will rest my case. But I'm speaking as a lawyer. I am saying that some mekra na bia mekoye case no na judge no anye injunction antum na ya ponko na ya fresh mumra na monsa no ababe dane no in my favor anya me de ye huna mane Ghana wa we huna mane ani ma kokoso a and Obiri Boahen kan no pekasa na lawyer no pekasa na lawyer no ya opeka anya kasa na me pe do nyankopon anya kasa na me pe e nokore na meka nokore me nye kasa me pekasa ba meka nokore. But when you can no, of course, not no credit the other can. So that notwithstanding and ram to fire in. So you see, as a country moving forward, what the near judge in the a very dangerous precedent in law. Very dangerous precedent. And this is a banner maker, Sassi and Monia that didn't want to. And yes, I'm a banner, so we shall say me yet comment. Now, man, for there be tea in your mecano about wumpa. Well, sir, imagine, sir, what this is a judgment delivered by a court of law. Obekwa na say in fact for that judgment here you can answer me for be wura pandai dia no for be wuram pandai dia no the high court on Bama ruling stay of execution on 18th December on 18th December. Now, so on 18th December, na 18th December, no so ya. Eya dan na maka say seat ni vacant. 18th December. 18th December no so ya. Eya dan na maka say seat the High Court, Owie High Court no kra mpo a. Na stay no anya adwuma. Obetimi akosoro akọ repeat application or court of appeal. We nyina mai. Mo see ya seat no vacant. Yo, Ghana. Because you see, when the system na as a boy on buying, system na edi system na ehwe so yen, system no faili, system no disappointing. Obi se chodo mato wo. Fa judgment ya ruling ya yenya nanu day. Sanfa be kapandai de no. Sanfa be kapandai de no. Na hwe pandai de no. Stay of execution ruling no kura beba so 18 December. Na wamo akoka se ya declare seat no vacant. Doesn't make sense. And uji di say eya wo de because ya declare seat no vacant. Uji di say ya ye win eya wo de because but you know what in the long run near ebetimi asidi. When there's a complete breakdown of law and order, so you in we are special Africa, south of the Sahara. When there's a complete breakdown of law and order, when in near ABC, ruling, second ruling by the judge and then Pandadi. They are declared significant. And but this is a Ghana from Binu, AJ signatures, no more Germany, only signatures, only the petition. But you know, petition, no signatures, no, fine. But in him who cry, say, be at the ruling, not judge the man, or son of a man. I know grand numbers and Kabia more. Because affect all of us. So Lumba's ruling, no, Lumba case, you know, the second ruling, and then the Pandai, no, who can bo more. Enti wote, who Ghana, who are brutal. What here? How do you conclude for Ghana? How do you conclude for Ghana? Because what they were doing say utia. Uyonko ho a na ntua nipa na tue duem wo de wadwene ne se yi kwa no na sanka mfi a wo se kwa no tene that maybe because I'm tired. Ghana is sick and Africa is sick. I said it. Moi mutie sanse mu ye kosupa. Well, Madam for be free, we are moise. Na wamu wonkan. Na obi ka chiro obi se oni Obiri Boahen ayaka. Na obi bi say oni Obiri Boahen ayaka. Osi na oya onkan we amoase abakosem. Enti na ayaka. Enti akayo ni nyina ni ani. Akayo ni nyina no Obiri Boahen kan we amoase akayo asem. Enti no ano ka ho kakra wo wontumi. Enti na ka ho so kakra na mpasa me na madam fo no be yaka. Enti eja me ka kakra bi kura na otia. Em se madam fo no wo me yemienu. Wo mo wonkran. Ba ko the doctor Ofuri. Do. Ba ko so the doctor Kwame. Do. Me ka nipa bibire me ka Ofuri pe mo amoni Dr. Ofuri oni ni nua Dr. Kwame do nanfo no on se me kan wi amoase asem ti bane me ayaka doc oni me nyaka mo mienu nyina mo ne me nyaka mo di anye mo me nya mo adamfo nem nti menya mo amadamfo no mo na menya ka. And you know, we are mostly like you said, you see somebody stop the lies. I mean, so we have a kind of trouble nobody. I say, well, viewers, more, I will leave it to you. The person is sick in mind. Yeah, not gonna come. Until the person is sick in mind, yeah. Oba can stop the lies. Because he's sick in mind, not gonna waka, not gonna humanity. Now that's a source don't mind them, but let me mind them. Original my own kakra. I say, hey, when be a gonna waka, not gonna waka. It told that sorry, you know, no, stop the line. Not gonna waka, on your normal. Into original, my can be wrong. Not gonna waka. Nanipa not gonna waka, as some of me who said, not gonna waka. Into more, I'm not gonna waka on the, I mean, you know, sometimes. Not gonna waka. I will not ignore them. Let me tell them. Not gonna waka. No, we are more say history has it said we are more say for ye. Denchira a corner for. Denchira a corner for. Ko praso. As ewo ko no. Omono binim ye we are more say. O more say we are more say for. Now, oko denchira. Be a pronunciation na mean kunu a boyfriend. Emiri na corner for na ewo. Ma history has it said. Ya wa akwara bi wo danchira himfie. Na danchira na wo mo wo comfort kese bi pa. In fact, this comfort no se na be si kire no kura no. Se be no wa bene chene. O comfort no che. One friend chene. Na chene prophesied. Se akwara na ba wo no. Se ban hwa dache se bi pepa. Enti meka se ben ko ja no kwane. Benko na ohene no ye se ben fa no nko no. Omode ntoma kokko ene gold dust. Na omfa nko ja akora no kwane. So omko wuram ho a. Enti omko e no so no omono ye se dabi akora we die se yekunwa. Wanhwa dachi because chine sa akora we na dachi ye ne kokuna wanhwa na ho nsunsan so abaye so. Nti yenko no mo de si wuram ho. No de gold dust in si ho. And a cobble tomato corn. So they came to that himfi. No bakacha na nasa ni okase yenkoye na yakoye. Abofo bi ko wuram na otisa akora bi esu. Na abofo no kofa akora. Luckily for the bofo na yere so awobe na otwepe. Nti ode akora no koma na yere. Nti ne yere no tete nkora no. Minu no na yebe from say wo me yentafo. Bia beka say comfort bofo no yere wontafo. So what happened was that so about 2 years later na bofo no so na say o de number himfi. Nti ohene no soma say o mo kwaje namra. Nti o mkoye no akora no akora no omugya no wuram ho no a bofo no de na ba no ohun ahoho no akotu abambe but wiamo ase kire na me kire ni nyina wiamo na de wiamo ase abakose no ba but bofo no yire no ba no ono de gina ho din ti akora no tu mu ma ne be na wo akora yi woni mu mpanfo yi akora ya ni age omne nam wo mu kuta wo mu asa wakoba bi na akora bi abeba mo enti be koye no koye no mkoka kire ohene no sa bofo na wontafo teteno so no wo abi na wontafo a eso bohene na amane na ohene no ka se ne o monkofre bofo no ne yire no mra o monkofre bofo no ne yire no mra o mo baaye no na o mo akora no duro ahemfie wa na ni age okowe no akobam no okowe no ti sa akora bi ote ahemfie ho so adan akora we yi ede so aba no omo de gold dust no na ntoma kokko no bae nti ombisa no bofo no ka no akora no so no akora ni ko wuram na ko hu akora ni sika kokko na ya de no mba hu sa akora no so omo yese ani eso nkroforo nsan kokko akora no ana akona emre yemfo no se dabi sa bi we de intim so omo to free ho no mbetana dance kakra brief period better dance kakra brief period no then they moved to Amakum brief period Amakum womanche ena omukoya omukoto okofo omni okofo kotena na okofo no akura no ne frɛ no akuram to omotra ho na aye inso anche na omkokyekere kurufoforo e frɛ no Domiabra so Domiabra and akuram kabomu a ena beye wiamoase and then na wiamoase be gidini no agona has 7 towns. Anytime abate asante agona bia no eye nkroto kukudam nson yamoase ka ho video city ngam video city ho na kwadom pianim so krafi and so ka ho then you have I think if you guys so ka ho nti yamoase wo nkura kase akona wo nkura kase na wiamoase ka ho bi now wiamoase dini na ge kase pa was that because confornoche no yam ni nronu abibiduro no yam bo no anode yam abibiduro no ene bo no da so ho na ye originally it was known as wiamoase then people corrected it to make it wiamoase. But in all these things in America, no, we no nyina buy and sana asanteman eba 1700. So akuramu Domiabra culminating in Wiamoasio or Wiamoasio. Omo nyina nyini chen Kumasi. Let me repeat it. Akuram Domiabra combining to make Hwamwase no kaboma omuno nyina nyini chan Kumasi of 1700. I'm entitled to give my historical narration. I am not the president. I am not a minister. So you cannot ask me about the development of Ghana, with due respect. So that explains why, and we are more second than your friend Osubri stew. Osubri stew. Osubri. And if you want to know the history of Wiamoase, this is the brief history of Wiamoase. So, menam for now, Mokase, moneme, I canon because of some come criminal. My bonnet tofa, Namakasa kwa praso. For no year, Wiamoase for, and they are originally no, then chira a corner for. In fact, some maybe a chum no. na agona twafo hene bia ebefa wo no ye fa no free wiamoase what wiamoase so wiamoase so wodini just that when you take the Ashanti history no agona no wosoro no because wiamoase is on the agona nti ama agona na dominate more unless of course you get historians to say na matimi ama the history of Nkrono bebre anti say moi manamfo no man, I've never said so. What I said was that Kwawu Praso wiamoasefo ka ho bi na omchekere Kwawu Praso. So if Kwawu Praso is Asona Adriana, please don't go there. You don't stretch it. There's no town in Ghana one Akan clan nkwane. Every town you go among the Akans, ubenya Diana, ubenya Oyoko, ubenya Bretu, ubenya Senye. Every town among the Akan, ukono kroni ya kete kura te sa bronya kura, ubenya Diana ni, ubenya Kona, ubenya Bretu, ubenya Senye, ubenya biwo. So please be very, very okay, you're busy menka kutukuli. I will yada be ana metimi aye we no de eno ana menamfo no cantina me yeah you know that's I'll come. We are more secure my bono tofa. My boy we are more no tofa. And we are more supported Agona when Agona once fought with Drabbing. Agona any Drabbing akunda. Na Agona ni Drabbing koye no. We are more no ka Agona ho. Nto di mutintimane. No di mutintimane. Na omuni Drabbing koye. Some people don't know, say even among the Ashanti Empire, Ashanti Kingdom, Ashanti Empire. Ibinum akunda. Bebre. Nfa Kumasi ne tafu akunda. Kumasi ne tafu tokwenti ne ma. Tafu fontam yefra no mwa. Omakunda. Mampong any figase any wono and the figase combine and I don't pianim krum no we ra fikakra awokwano kwadom pianim krum no am the hona betmen san papa free ya sa kru na betmen san papa free no ene wono num na figase no a combine and mampong akunda. So even within Asante setup, no, binum akunda. And within the Asante mine setup, binum suni binum akunda. Nkranza ne Asante mine akunda. Even though Nkranza is a member of the Asante mine, binum akunda. Quickly, when I'm talking about Agona, no, I cannot end it. I cannot end Yamwase, I cannot end Agona without talking about, like I said, the Agona helped Kumasi also to fight Tafo. You have all these things. And yet Biana met me, one day I'll come and talk about the Atara from war. Atara was a very strong ruler, and man the kingdom no so. kosi modern day atebubu ba fa kwawunum Afram Plains ba fa kumawunum Afram Plains. So you can imagine why we nim kwawufo na Afram Plains, why we nim kumawu Afram Plains, why we nim mampong oba Afram Plains. Now koduru atebubu. You can imagine, very big. Atara was a well-known historian, a fighter. And in fact, Asante mine, at that time, Asante has not been born. All the Atara from wars were fought when we had Kwamine. When Asante was born in 1700, Atara from war had ended. And that Kumawu, Bompata, Agogo, Agona, Omudiano Omanino, 16 something, no, they fought the Atara from war. But Kumase, Asante never, because Asante Maya won 1700, no, not Atara from war, no, about it. One day, I think, yes, it's a very good topic because people are afraid of Atara from war, Atara from war, Atara from war. But no, because a buyer before the death of Ashanti. It's like the Denchira. Denchira was a very big state. Denchira was a very big state. In fact, why we name Kumasi starting Tumasi no mina ye Denchira. Tumasi nkawie no mina ye Denchira. Uwa kofa baby a manso baby a wamu 2 gold agure sum no mina, we call it Denchira. And then coming down up to no ba agure sum be sikwa no mu ba Denchira na so. So if in future we are to also discuss and talk about Denchira, we will see and also a very big kingdom. Kingdom Sabako. But no, you realize that the Asante kingdom from 1700, you know, and an idea were Gina Ache. And that is why perhaps ABO and Una Ama Sante Fono. Thank you. Kwajompian Jamase, Medase, Jamase. So Jamase no ne wiamoase no nyina ewa agona. Medase pa. Jamase wiamoase no nyina wono no nyina ya agona. Medase. Jamase hona amse Herbert mensa papa no be de kotoko sometime ofri. Yeah. So, I had distracted a little. So, we also talk about them one day. But let me also use this opportunity to make this correction. Historians and intellectuals no be britaka Asante Techiman War. In actual fact, any Asante Techiman War. A Asante Bonomanson War. So Professor Boahen Professor Boahen. Me share Professor Boahen, sabe Professor Boahen nyina omutie. Well-known baby historians nyina omutie. Why? Because Asante Bono Manson War. Even though the 1724, 1730 nyina no na wo. Na Techiman was there. Techiman ye Techi free crew, Techi free among Fonso. It was when the Bono Manson people went to Germany, they wanted to come back. Nomka Samonko Bono Manson, Techi free among Fonso, and a bear Techiman. So people are failing to link the proper historical narration. can Asante Techiman war? What? The proper description here, Asante Bono Manson war. Aduba hintro, Ajaya tro, Feji tro, Tio San Wamunina. I beg to differ. That is not it. That is not it. It is an Asante Bono Manson war. That is Opoku Ware the first. And then Jamrawa. So anytime you hear Asante Techiman war, please just cancel Techiman and substitute it with Bono Manson. Just cancel it and substitute. Because if you say Asante Techiman war, any knowledgeable historian, no, Beka say Yantesa. So nim history mu pa dia, onimu dia obefa no sa, but onimu kwa dia any knowledgeable historian Beka say Yantesa. So that is the I can say be a person can krum there, but you know I will arrange it. I will arrange it. Well, can Asante Bonoman so that was the Opokuware. The Opokuware, the first versus Jamarawa. Or some can describe it as the Jamarawa War. Jamarawa War. Okay, Jamarawa War so and also it kind of Amaya War. No Opokuware War. Bokaswa and also a transform. Because Opokuware came around 1717, 1718. So this war was fought around 1724. This war was fought around 1724. In fact, history has it here. History has it. Yeah, Kumawu also, yes. Kumawu, thank you. Kumawu. History has it. Then thank you. I thank you for my correction. Thank you for the correction. If BA Mensa free, Yanene, Kajom Pianim na me pedino, not BA Mensa. I'm not okay. I'm looking for Kajom Pianim, and somebody has supplied me the answer. The answer is Jamase. Thank you. I was talking about Jamase. I was not talking about Kumawu. Kumawu is a champion somewhere because it's a paramount too. But Jamase is not a paramount. So, Munina Medamase. Say, Mama, sa addition there. Madam said that is the beauty of it. Some will help me, some will also help them. So the Opokuware War Opokuware fought the Bono Manson War, and son Opokuware ekoko the Banda War. Opokuware fought the Bono Manson War, and son Opokuware ekoko the Banda War. I was going to tell you some history. The history was that 3 years after Mampusi was ensconced as the Bokunaba, then the Bono Manson War happened. And so I'm helping you with history. The first Bokunaba was ensconced in 1721, and he was a Mampusi. 3 years later, then the Asante Bono Manson War was fought. So that is also for your education. And the other day, somebody wanted me to say, I don't know, make us say, Mampusi for the Bokunaba. Yes, Bokunaba from 1721 to 1958. That is the record. 1721 to 1958. That is the record. That is the record. So that is how we should look at it. Now, whilst before I take another topic, I'll continue to talk about history, chieftaincy. I don't care whose us is God. I don't care. And if you not join me, if you not join me, no, it was not 1774, my brother. I'm sorry, it wasn't 1774. The Jamrewa Pokuara War was in 1774, my brother. I hold the contrary view. If you not join me, if you not support what I'm saying, if you are not in favor, please, you can just leave. Maybe I'm be preaching and can make to be. Me preach, me can politics, law, history, and the rest. Me preach, me can politics, law, and history, and the rest. Now, very important issue for us to discuss is when President Mahama said, also, where can you get this history? This history there, apart from me, baby, because we know you're very authentic. Perfect. Also, Bakuna was a scan in 1958. Yeah, that was what I'm saying, that from 1721 to 1958. That is my knowledge, that is my position. 1721 to 1958. Mamprisi. Me history no one no babia. Me history no contaminated. Me history no, because I'm not biased. I can't say ni sitie. I can't nokre. And the anya da, you may think that is a contaminated. Anya da, you may think that is contaminated. It is not contaminated. And now some my catcher of all we are moasino. One no baby. We cried them semi born toughen. We are moasing the no crampo, me say me born toughenpo. My born toughenpo. Na se me betena se me baba bu pa anka madam for Dr. Uforisa pon kwa me despite mu bebo mu nsem pe se me no nya aka ntidi ma bon tofa me kura so ni pe me mo bedi no ama abo bere mbe aka se me nka be kuru ne ma aka be kuru ba. So President Mahama recently say me da say e pure and organic ka say ade ba ko ha adwene pa chieftaincy and land issues. Ayampa. But you know, President Mahama, let me be very honest and sincere. Chieftaincy problems, you know, Falkasian and Frasian. Chieftaincy problems, you know, Falkasian free the indirect rule period. Because the indirect rule period, you know, Abrofro timi fufa nkonya no ba ko mienu miensa nan ba ka babom. A typical example is Kwadwobofo, Kadue, Kokoma, Chirponi, and Yechi. Typical example. Fawi no maka o mabom. No maya bako champion. So most of these things no enye uncertain. Bebre started at a time na the chieftaincy abrofono indirect rule. Then after independence also, most of these problems emerged after independence. Because after independence, 57, most of the areas are the CPP government who said, "Woman pay CPP asem." And that is the classical example is what we are facing in Boko. Classical example. We had a problem with the Boko. The Boko are the classical example of the problems of chieftaincy during the CPP era. And if you go back into the history, you see that Boko and Nawan Samba, Kofan Samaba, Mompusikusha, Sinipe, Winnipenino. Period. And it was not only Boko. When she had that problem in 1958, Nana Kwesiapia was changed. Not through any means, just one morning. the CPP group felt, oh, Nana Kusiapia, they say, oh, na omode Nana More Bidia true Abba. We had a lot of problems because, see, NLC Decree 112 no crown. It affected about 512 chiefs. 512. But you come in Kroma, NLC Baye, NLC Decree 112 no. It affected about 512 stools. Check. Please, you check. Now we check it pass over pen and paper. Now we check effective 2 week, effective 2 week, effective 2 week. And come here and say every region in Ghana now, 16 regions no. Every region in Ghana now, the CPP nane ejina chieftainship. Mampong ubenya. Yendi ubenya. Domase number 2 and Shimane ubenya. Domase number 1, number 2 Kurobako baby anu wamu po mpentoa. It even Domase number 1 and 2, it affected even our dear CPP and the UP. Brekum affected. Brekum kunyasam it affected. Bechem Kukum Dian Kwan. What? So that was also a period that Ghana for pa. A binima twaswa besine. Tachuman Trobodom, the CPP. So there was a letter which was written in January 1968. In January 1968, the then Bono Ahafo Regional Administration wrote a letter. So no, with the passage of NLC Decree 112, Trobodom Techiman relationship is affected. The Trobodom, Krotia, and then Abroman Fono is affected by it was also affected by NLC Decree 112. And it was also, well, you see, somehow, let me be very frank and honest. Will you blame Dr. Kwame Nkrumah? You. Let's put if you put yourself in the position of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, you are the president. And someone in 1958, Kwame Nkrumah came to Yankwanta, Wamubonu Tutu, and the people were arrested, they were sent to Sunyani court, they were convicted, they were fined in 1958. So the Kwame Nkrumah era, but look, why would you mean me amekasa? Yenina yenyintum. Me ya analysis, me ye nipa, uye nipa. Was it justified? Or it was not? That one, the debate will go on. Ebunu beka say, na dua nkwanta say ya oduru ya na bebo no tutuo no. Ne bebo no tutuo no, say no hu say against for hopa. Nti ono so. So somebody will talk about that. One fear. Somebody will also talk about that. So sometimes you find people accusing Buzia. So Buzia, I don't know how ewura ahensem. On all honesty, I will not allow men to say my own Buzia. Why? Because Buzia came in September 1969. And Buzia implemented NLC Decree 112, which was contained in the 1969 Constitution because it was a transitional provision. So when President Mahama is talking about these things, Yes, President Mahama Tiasia. The President Mahama, if Frasia chair CPP. Na among yourself, so wuram, and yan DC from Kwan, PNDC for wuram, MPP for wuram, NDC for wuram. And Tiaman yourself, no, and ya him some no. I have my premonition say about the channel and every minute. Among yourself for in the NPP era, we are not cracking about some of problems be a bit. Some chiefs were gazetted during the NPP era when there were cases even against them. Some chiefs have been gazetted in the NDC under President Mahama when there are even cases. So it's no. So in honesty, so Bitranam Kasa President Mahama, one of my Ahinsanoba, I'm not being fair. Main Kasa. I agree with you, President Mahama, because the chieftaincy has been a big. Na mpesawoti asese President Mahama. Enya neba. President Mahama, uba ye kura nanton. We know Kaza se ye Nanton. There's a problem in Nanton. Backbone, Nanton. There's a problem there. Uba ye ya. What do you say to that? Nanton. Uba ye ya. What do you say to that? Huh? So many places. Nchra, go to Nchra. Chieftaincy problem. When the Nchra case has been decided, in fact, it was decided on 28th April 1988. What about my Google? Remember the title of the suit. The title of the suit to the Kwaku versus Boye. 207-208 Ghana Law Report Digest 107. Google. Ubenyan Kwaku versus Boye. Upeso Hunchara case. The judgment was delivered on 28th April 1988. Google. Upeso Abetimenya Espati Abenatutu. The Republic versus High Court. Espati Abenatutu. The judgment was delivered on 11th May 1985. 11th May 1985. Check. I wish everybody. Why would hear me sabe? Why would hear me a cratch mapan? A uraba mapan. If you can Google to find these two judgments. Espati Abenatutu. Tanoso. Tachiman Kwemunga. And then, Raf Japan, why joining me? Dian Quantara for Japan. Amedase. Raf, Dian Quantara, Raf Japan. Lawyer for Kennedy or Hine Japan. Medase, Aquaba, Raf, why joining. So you have that one also. And like Raf, I was joining me, no, Ubisa Raf for Becca, the Dian Quanta problem. The Dian Quanta went on exile. Offense, so Kukum, and no, yeah, Kwaku versus Boye, 207-208, Ghana Law Report Digest 107. Then as party Abenatutu, that's it. I also be or the BB Enterprise, Dreamers Enterprise, fine. And as per party no ESPA, many. Arrow, baby, away 18 year arrow, as party, Abenatutu. That ruling was delivered on 11th May 1985. Go and read. Miss Samson was a platform, yes, I'm a Germanum, and I'm a yesam, and I'm a church. Debbie. I'm a very simple person. I be so you, Joe Fort, Papiase champion, Joe Fort, Papiasi Jofort. Osu kwa Osu Jofort or store dane mako 1,000. Mr. Osu na wa won Jofort mo moment or store dane oko CMB. Sorry for this, but mo maminka. Mr. Osu kwa was store dane mako 1,000. 1,000 apem kwa uni ofi papiasi Jofort 1,000. Eti Osu was store dane 1,000. Adentina esa Ghana abani yisika se okosisi store adane wo kwawunu ntamu ho ananse ofori krom. Why should government do that? In fact, no, I'm free. Ejurati ameba medru mamponten abanye AC store dan which has been abandoned. Also was store done 1,000. Me come for on Friday, some people came to me say, "Wamu company no, your friend China Mall. Now wamu passase. I want be China Mall. The Chinese they came. Now abrofo na mabe passase be China Mall. Adenti na Ghana abani yi Ghana sika say me this is store adane because the typical Ghanaian politician MPP obiya no wanya bi adi NDC oye no wanya bi adi da bia me kwakasa asem we also or 1,000 Jofort of Papiasi. So quickly, let me just go back to the issues I was discussing. So the chieftaincy has been a very big problem. But President Mahama, like I said, both MPP and NDC, political actors, mo can be, mo ye prepreja, mo can be. Political actors, mo can be. I say go and read the Brown Afro Region Act of 1958. You also go back and read the Brown Afro Region Act. Could you go back and read the Brown Afro Region Act 1959? Then take the decision, the contents in the Brown Afro Act. Take that content and then just oppose it with the decision in Espati Abana 2 and the decision in Kwaku versus Boye. Please. Knowledge. I call it matramakwe. In fact, in the decision in Kwaku versus Boye, the Court of Appeal explained at length this Brown Act vis-a-vis customary allegiance. Go and read. Ora, go and read 1959. Memakai Act 18 of 1959. And then when you're reading the act in Ukraine, question the contribution. Go and look at the contribution of I'll get you the name of this lawyer. He was a member of parliament for Techima. I'll get you the name. In fact, PMP time Krano. Obeye, I think he became Ghana's ambassador to India. Go and read. Go and read. You people are fomenting unnecessary trouble and tension in the Bono region and the Bono East region. Go and read the act. Take the act from 1 to Z. From 1 to Z. Kwajo usue copy act from 1 to Z. Chira me act no baby a chira say. So be soon baby bia. Enisa act ntimo nkoso. Go and read the act. Unnecessary agitation and tension people are creating. Kokani expertise ability to. I know what I'm talking about. This rough Japan. Rough Japan and the lawyers who are following me. Oh, fancy. Oh, say not here. Kokani, the Brown Act of 1959. Then the decision in Kwaku versus Boye in Espati Abana 2. In fact, the Supreme Court made reference to that one also in 2019, the Republic versus the Regional House of Chiefs, National House of Chiefs. Espati Odro Duama. Yes, digest it in that judgment. 2018 or 2019. Espati Odro Duama. The Republic versus the Regional House of Chiefs, the National House of Chiefs, Espati Odrobuama and others, Supreme Court of Ghana. The matter started from Kumasi High Court. It was first determined by Justice Ensu Diabo. The matter later came before Justice Kumsin. The matter went on appeal. An appeal was filed by Tachiman. The national matter went before the Court of Appeal. Suribari, Kwakujain, and one person, I forgot him. The matter went again to the Supreme Court. As party Odrobuama, maybe if you Google, you can get the Republic versus National House of Chiefs, interested party, Tachiman Traditional Council, interested party, Asante Mine. Google and find out. But I say, why was you bad for your dreamers? I give a solid and impeccable historical presentation. And so, please, I was back to what President Mahama said. I said, President Mahama, you people must also be held answerable. I never cry Nanton. There's a problem in Nanton. How do you describe it? How do you describe it? President Mahama, well, you know the very person who went to Boko and said that, no, when I come, I'll do this and do this and do this. Obi could actually because Nana because who because of spell it. Who because spell it. Like as somebody said, and it's a because of crowd who spell it. Because who spell it, because what when you broach that and because spell it. Because who spell it. I just say what that's all. Please, I think that like Dreamers Enterprise said, I should not be distracted by these people. So you see, most of these things, you must be held answerable. You, some of you politicians. President Mahama, what was your comment on Zebula? What was your comment on at Garutimpane, Boko, Pusiga? Who can say? Who can say? And Abesi saying. And Anabaya saying. Who can say? President Mahama, just tell us. So when you say that you have a lot of chieftaincy problems now, yes, you have a lot of chieftaincy problems because from Kwasi Broni time to CPP coming down to Buzia never involved himself in chieftaincy. What Buzia did was the implementation of NLC Decree 112. That was all. That was all. What Buzia did was the implementation of NLC Decree 112. That was all. So, don't blame Buzia. Men for Buzia me urem. And this didn't happen in India, or Mudi Buzia be urem. And this didn't happen in Bokwa. Buzia was only implementing NLC Decree 112. Now, I think that sorry, next time back on this issue, like somebody Obika said, called Menko kind the act, no, maybe some kind act, no, Mama Kissy. I think that next week, I will concentrate the whole period, no, on a very legal issue. Actually, probably and that legal issue, actually, probably said, enti create regime bia. Na obi ewo ebi wo regime bim. Oni hene bi wo twakan wo regime bim. Ya be create regime no. Enti automatically oni ohene no twakan no abawi yana. When you raise this issue, people quickly just go to Bono and then Bono is, and that's it. That is never correct. That is never correct. Any level-minded person are you ready to learn? Next week in back. There is a principle in law. We call it the principle, the decision in Apemkwe's case. That decision was made in 1861. May at all say at the Chanbian and Bemi with a intimate transi up what then the principle in Apemkwe's case. That principle, Kwasibroni Apemkwa now of disco. Not in a month for no more disco, a hunter for. na penkwa ne ahantafo no nya akasakasa apenkwa ne ahantafo no nya akasakasa na penkwa ka se onsom ahantafo na mum obeba abesom Elmina. So the matter went to court and the decision was made in 1861. That decision, which was made in 1861, the Apenquest case, and then after Babesi in the most of the cases. So, just to whet your appetite, no mamupi. Where winning bupe, aye gonja, bupe, oh allegiance to Yabonra. Whoever is the bupeura, you owe allegiance to Yabonra. Damango, Gonja, King, the king of Gonja. Now, if for some reason, like the Penquest case, or some hunter, or some baba, some fantia, the court said, no, you can't do that. So if for one reason or the other, Bupeura, okay, say, no, sir, the Gonja share common boundary with the Nanumbers and the Dagumbers. Then the Moors, the Mo on this side, then they have a border with the Wallace. If the Bupeura says that many me Bupe for yan some Yabonra, na yebekwa kosom yana ana Nanumba. What is the legal effect in law? In law, you apply the principle canvas in the Penquest case. And the principle canvas in the Penquest case, Emma Bupeura, entimin kase maatime. So the principle canvas in the Penquest case, Emma yana, Emma Yabongra and Kase, Bupeura Mapamo, leave Gonja. Debbie, you cannot sack Bupeura. I mean, another kingdom. Karaga owes allegiance to Diana. So, if for one reason or the other, baby, yendi one and the Karaga muchi papa, and a diare, muchi papa. So let me use even diare will be. Diare is just near the Mamprisis. The Dagomba phone, that bon any Mamprisi, the warrior could draw a machine, Ubehu diare. Diare plays a major role when we are discussing the history of that one. My main fan say, Assembly, diare no Bolga Council. And a yendi so what this side when you are in Tamale, yendi will be here, diare will be here. Master diare, kokase, yana, why a yen diare for aye bibi, enti, anakaraga for kokase yana, why bibi, enti yan song yana biwa. The principle made in the Penquest case, enti mi makaraga ana diare kokase. Uncle Suliana, Debbie that. Once again, let me just talk about the principal canvas in Apenquest case. You take Boma is in the Ahafo region, and Boma is in the Bono. Boma cannot say, sir. Kodoma because I'm a new region. No, the principal canvas in Apenquest case re-echoed in Kwaku versus Boye, repeated in Espati, Odrobama, and others. Ninyina no and support Boma because even though a region has been created, Boma will continue to owe allegiance to Doma. That is the law. That is knowledge. That is the law. That is the knowledge. Mami mabio means any yakra. Wale owes allegiance to Nayiri, the king of Mamprisi. If for one reason or the other, Wale say, Babi, yeah, dear, young call Nayiri Hoa. The principal canvas in the Penquest case, you know, and to me, Wale will always owe allegiance to Nayiri, and Nayiri will always see Wale as land. Because the principal canvas in Apenquest case, decision which was arrived at or made in 1861. In fact, and when you have the Yabongra, Nayiri, and Yana, what do you cry there? And your country Ghana, and your country when Ghana became independent in 1957, and then republic in 1960. Those lands, the Gonja, the Nayiri in Nalerungu still has lands in Burkina Faso and Togo. The people of Burkina Faso and the people of Togo cannot say, science as in any country Ghana. Any country Ghana. No, if you are ensconced in Burkina Faso or Togo, now to Nayiri asase soa, obesana baha. Sana if you are ensconced as a chief in Togo, now to yana asase soa, obesana ba yana ho. If you even get it in Ango, there are some stools in Togo or some lands in Togo which own allegiance to Ango, Awomefia. Even though Ghana and Yafa Hudie, Togo and Yafa Hudie, so the Awomefia exercises that his right over those lands in Togo. So please, I think that we need education. They need education. And then you sit down there, you don't know the powers of Nayiri. You don't know the powers of Yabongra. You don't know the powers of Yana. And you think that you can just put Nayiri, Yana, Yabongra, Dasantene, there is no king. And therefore, when there is no king, we are all paramount chiefs. Well, but I'm saying that Dasantene, Ghana as a country, Dasantene, the Asanteman, the Mansha Palace, has allegiance or exercise rights over some lands in so many parts of this country. The Yabongra exercises rights over so many lands in Ghana and beyond Ghana. The Yana exercises so much powers over lands in Ghana and beyond. And the Nayiri also exercises powers over lands in Ghana and Burkina Faso and Togo. So, lack of education, I say lack, and I repeat, lack of education. Ama, ebinum, lack of education, ben huni yakoso. Onim ni yakoso, lack of education. So I will say that yes, the Penquest case gives the Domans to the right to exercise allegiance over the Boma. So if you don't know, one chance in the mensa damjem, just ignorance. That is the word, ignorance. That is the word. The word I will use is ignorance. And he's not prepared to learn. And when I'm even discussing this topic, obi di be wuram so MPP agu. When we are discussing this, and I know that me canon, I catch a phone bebre, alpha pen paper, and some will go to the YouTube and they will monitor it, and I am giving you knowledge. Mumasuya, nyansa, nimdia, kaprenim, damanim, kaprenim, damanim, wonto, free fa. And it will help to reduce the tension in Ghana. It will help to reduce the tension. Some even don't know. Say, Yana, Nigeria exercises rights over some lands, principally occupied by Kokome, Bunkuku Yoyo, for instance. So, if you are daft, please, you must know these things. Very, very important. Somebody is saying, now we know. For development. Here, Obi daft. And the problems you are facing in Ghana now, if it's a lack of knowledge, you know. If it's a lack of knowledge, you know. Obi think I say, and people for the account from daft. You are daft. Because the MPP party, no, who transit to the UPA, look for an element. The Northern People's Party played a major role. The Angolans played a major role. The others played a major role with the formation of the United Party 13th October 1958 and 1957. And President Mahama has raised it, chieftaincy. Yes, and I'm saying yes, it is true. In contemporary times, both MPP and NDC. Both MPP and NDC. You see? Because some will even challenge this Boma issue. But I must be very careful. I must tread cautiously. I know. So some are saying that, but as far as I said it here, I may be wrong or I may be right. I know that the Boma is the Nifa of Doma. Pure and simple. I know. People holding the dissenting views. I know. People hold dissenting views. I know. But when I'm talking about the principal canvas in a Penquest case made in 1861, re-echoed in Kwaku versus Boye, rehashed in the Republic Party Odrobuama, you will come across all these things. You come across all these things. So, Mr. Ignorant, Mrs. Ignorant, when you're the transit now, here the analysis I am giving now, very, very important analysis. When I'm catching say, look, you may hear Gandangwe. You have the guns and you have the Dangbes. You have the guns and you have the Dangbes. Similarities, yeah, I agree. Similarities, I agree. But the guns are guns. The Dangbes are Dangbes. The Dangbes are the Ningo, Pong, Pram, Pram. And you get at the Dangbes in the Eastern region. That is the lower Krobo and upper Menya and the Krobo. They are Dangbes. You can't call them guns. They are Dangbes. And you can't call the Nungua, Teshi, Osu, La. You can't call them Adangbes. You call them guns. If I don't give you these lectures, what are you going to get these lectures from? You mean your copy of Mechia George? Boahema, Chakofiam Ponsan, Anopoku Walker, Kosik Bonsu Kachobo, Askadu, as a Obiri Boahen in the US, Ophelia Obiri Boahen in Ghana, Tamale, Gloria Obiri Boahen, Teresa Obiri Boahen, Daniel Obiri Boahen, Obiri Boahen Forina, Sheila Obiri Boahen, a law student. Augustine Obiri Boahen, law student. Antonio Obiri Boahen, law student. Sheila might Obiri Boahen, Jadin Obiri Boahen, Jason Obiri Boahen, the Chamunina, Obiri Boahen Junior again, the Chamunina. But I think that the next time my banu come back next one I remember you. But that's it, original Ghana TV. Also some of the yes, we bring one man you make an opinion, and you bash with him you. You make an until that on that unpetted that on he has never had the opportunity to be asked and said, I didn't think a Jordan, China Jordan. The paramount chief of Rawra, every East Oti region, Ebabe Saiwo, Ashanti. Why and how? And you canvass it in the principle already, Makana Pemquest case. Because the Rawra people are saying that if you couldn't answer. So you don't be bothered. You don't be bothered. So if the cucumbers and even if you have some be more best on the land of the Mamprisi, and those people best they recognize Nairi as their overlord. Those concomers Brunku Yoyo, they recognize Nairi as their overlord. The first of years, and it doesn't change you. And not my yet Mamprusini. That's yet be mobani, and all that's yet concomani. No, it's all technical and very complex and very interesting and very entertaining and very educative. If you don't look at it very well, you sit down and then because there's Boko conflict here, you can't say. Is it not mind-boggling? Say you have the Mamprisi from 1721 to 1958. 200 and something years, you have a Mamprisi. So I'm not speaking for Mamprisi, I'm not speaking for Kusasi. I'm leaving it to you. Well, draw your own conclusion. I am not speaking for Mamprisi, I am not speaking for. But I will always defend Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia when they rope him into this conflict. Why? Because this conflict started before Bawumia was born. So why should an innocent person like Mahmoud Bawumia, Otini baby, on Kambi, on Kasentie, on Yabi, on Tubipe? So why should you use the Kusasi Mamprisi war to affect Bawumia? And are you saying that Bawumia Kwakasa or Mamprisi Niana? I mean, how can that be? It can never be possible. But you know, the knowledge is from in our society here. And so somebody thinks that because Bawumia is a Mamprisi, yen traba mano, if he say or your Mamprisi. I mean how? Maybe where he doesn't make sense. Huh? Because I want to about 2024. Microphobic or Bono going to Menje, the baby, Brody, the other so baby campaign. So, Otoma MPP. Obiri Boahen the Munin and Baba Shasante Henasi. Muntian ye pao. Lack of knowledge. That was the campaign. Hey, go to MPP Obiri Boahen. I'm Tim Baby. Campaign Tantanipa. Nimiamano. Aja. Tim Baby Patwaba and this I'm winning. Then in 2025, the baby Noah, MPP won that. MPP has never won the baby from 1992. The baby now won't go catch Obiri Boahen the Mubaba something on. And this winning, now the baby hearing has been elevated to the status of Obrempong during NDC era. NDC pencil, no the baby hearing every na tranko status abaya Obrempong. The next time is going to be Oman Hene. NDC time. Manshia. So those people in those areas and those born intellectuals, both home and abroad. And both home and abroad. I'm on Messiah knowledge in a more indoctrinity among for. NDC pencil na the baby. Abaya Obrempong. And so what do you say to that? NDC pencil, odi baby, abaya brempong. NDC pencil, fiapri, abaya brempong. Fiapri abaya brempong, di baby abaya brempong. NDC pencil. Obiri Boahen na di fiapri ba ay manhia. Obiri Boahen na di baby ba. MPP na di fiapri ba manhia. MPP na di baby ba. So, it doesn't matter. Say, Oti Ghana ha not here brochiri. Bebre no knowledge no wofam. Ignorance no too much. Knowledge no wofam. Ignorance no too much. But they make the ugly noises. But they talk. Whatever. Until minimum can say, didn't you say, yeah, with rat attention. Didn't you say, oh, somebody said, Boko, what did I say and let it? Go and look at what you heard there, please. Don't rope me into the Boko matter, please. Don't rope me into Boko matter. What you heard, respond to it. What I said is that it would be unfair and unjust to tag Baumia with this Kusasi Mamprusi Ntokwan. And because of that, inciting people not to vote for Baumia. That would be wrong. That would be unfair. That would be unacceptable. I rest my case here. Next week, maybe last one. Because I've started with the Pemquest case principle. Next week, maybe Madam Asipi.